Wow. I was trying to do a build-up. I was trying to do an intro. I thought it would be great. I thought it'd be fun and just kind of not be on camera really too much until the intro song. But they decided to restrict the live, so that's insane. So, oh wait, did we just get a warning or was it a full? Okay, well, looks like it's a warning. Let's I guess not flip the camera again. Wild. But that's all right. Welcome in, everybody. I'm too pretty not to be on camera. Thanks, Mika. Welcome in, everybody. We are just getting started. We're here as we always are to see if you can question your beliefs. We might do things a little differently this weekend. I think I'll be running Question the Questioner pretty much the whole time. Of course, new guests will still be up to, we'll be seeing if they can question their beliefs. And anybody who's been here before will be welcome to come up and see if I or other questioners can question ours. Of course, the only bar for entry, as always, is being able to question your beliefs. If you can question your beliefs, then, go ahead and request up. We have some questions for you. Thank you, everybody, for tapping the screen up 7,000 times already. Really appreciate that. And the 96 shares. I'm sure all of that's going to help get us out to the FYP. Of course, if we keep tapping, keep sharing, who knows, we may get somebody new in here who might be curious enough or courageous enough to question their beliefs in God or higher powers or supernatural Yeti space entities or something like that, whatever it is they believe in. But while we wait, I think it's time we really get started. And before we do, thank you, Quantum. Appreciate the Night Star.
Step right in. Through the sand and the static. One skull, one mic. One question that rattles the attic. Thrayle's lantern, bones bright as a star. If you're sure of your answers, you're already too far. to belief. Mirage of a miracle, promising relief. Skeleton showman, grins from the dune, calling with your heaven, your haunting tune. Under the wings of light, we're calling out the sky. Is it God? Is it dust? Is it comfort? Is it rust? Every story, every sigh. Hold it up, let it fly. We question the question. Try under the wings of white. Carnival candles flicker in the phone line hum. Tell me what you worship. Tell me why it comes. Is it fear of the ending, or a friend in the storm? Is it something that saved you, or just a ritual? Under the wings of wine, we're calling out the sky. Is it God? Is it dust? Is it comfort? Is it trust? Every story, every sigh. Hold it up, let it fly. We question the question. Try under the wings of wine. Truth starts shaking, let it shake, let it breathe. If your faith starts breaking, see what's hiding beneath. Under the wings of wine, we're calling out the sky. Not to conquer, not to fight, just to look, just to light. Every doubt, every cry, bat bright in the night. We question the answer, try under the wings of wine.
Hell yeah. Welcome in, everybody, to the Batcolyte. We are here just seeing if you can question your beliefs. If you have a belief in a god or God's higher power or anything like that, and you're curious enough or courageous enough to question your beliefs, then go ahead and request up. I'm not looking for a debate or an argument. I'm not looking to tear you down or burgle your gods. I really just want to know if you can question. Well then, what is it you believe and why do you believe it? And maybe I might have a few more questions for you. And if you can question well, it's one of those chances. The tables can be turned and you can question the questioner. If you've been questioned before, of course. Let's see who we've got.
What's up?
Hello, Stephen. Can I get your age for TikTok TOS?
I am 35.
And do you have a belief in a god or God's higher power or anything like that?
I do. I have a belief in Jesus and the God of the Bible.
Have you read your Bible from beginning to end?
I have not.
Why not?
Because it doesn't read like it's not an exciting book to read to me like Harry Potter. It doesn't flow that way for me. So
Is
I've
it
read bits and
important?
pieces.
Is it important to you if it's true or not?
Um, yeah, I think it is important to me that it's true.
Do you believe that all of it is true?
Um, I don't. That's a good question. Um, I would have to say, I guess yes. I would have to believe it's. Part of me believes it's true, all true. Yes.
That it would be all true. So every story, um, every book, every chapter.
Yeah, in some way, shape, or form. If not true in reality, true allegorically, or true metaphorically.
What does true allegorically mean?
Means that it's like, or like, like for instance, it's like, like if I have a dream and someone cheats on me, and I wake up and I feel like someone's cheated on me, that's just as true to me as somebody happening in real life. So like, what it means, like, I guess true allegorically means to me, it's a transmission of truth through the symbols of words.
A transmission of truth, something that you might call true but might not have occurred.
Right. Physically occurred. Physically occurred, but it may have occurred mentally and intellectually within me.
Mentally. So let's try to narrow this down a little bit. Do you believe the creation story from the Bible?
I do.
6 days, Adam and Eve, all that.
Yes.
Have you read that part of the book?
Yeah, Genesis. Yeah, I've read most of it, yeah.
And you believe that's literally true? 6 days in that order?
Yeah, I definitely lean that way.
Why?
It's just it was like the foundational way that I was taught it, probably, or conditioned to believe it that way. And then I was introduced to an allegorical view of it, and it doesn't feel as satisfying to believe that way.
So an allegorical view of Genesis 1 doesn't feel satisfying. So you do believe it as literal, as God creating in 6 days in that order.
And then resting on the seventh, I believe.
That technically the next chapter, but yeah. So does it matter to you if that order is flawed in any way?
Yeah, if it's truly flawed, then yeah, it does bother me because it just means I'm wrong. But then I'd have to figure something else out to understand. But I mean, maybe it doesn't, because ultimately, like, what I take from it is, I think a lot of those details are unnecessary, to be honest with you. Like, I don't really care whether, he made the birds before the bees or the trees after the lakes. It's more so like what happened with the tree and Adam and Eve that seems more useful to me.
So if the first chapter is flawed, that doesn't matter. For you, it's more about the Adam and Eve story.
Yeah, I feel like something may seem flawed from a zoomed-in perspective, but if you look at the whole story, it matters what take from the whole story, not a single sentence or something, if that makes sense.
Does it matter if single sentences contradict each other?
Does it matter if single sentences contradict each other? Not necessarily, no.
Do you think there are any flaws or errors, contradictions, or anything like that in the Bible?
I don't think so. I think the lens that we perceive the Bible through is flawed or contradicting more so than, or I think our understanding is not fulfilled, and that's why we perceive these things as flaws or contradictions.
So you're saying it's entirely our perception if something appears contradictory or flawed. It's simply our mistake.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like, I can look at it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So have you, you haven't read the book entirely, right? You've read bits, pieces, chapters,
Yeah,
stories here
I
and
put
there.
a lot of time into it, but I have never like stopped to read it from beginning to end, and there's probably small bits that I've missed.
Mhm. So if you did find some kind of contradiction in reading it, you would chalk whatever error you see up to you.
Yeah, that would probably be consistent.
Interesting. Have you, Duragon's asking in chat how much you've read. If you were to give it a percentage, how much of the Bible do you think you've actually read?
At least 80, 85, maybe.
Do you think, I would wonder how within 85% you hadn't found any flaws or errors
Oh, I've
that you
struggled
couldn't
with all
recognize.
kinds of what I perceive to be flaws or errors, and
Right.
I've come up with all kinds of crazy conclusions to explain them, and then challenge those ones, and then ultimately it just comes down to uh, believing I don't understand the whole thing. But what I do understand, I just go with because it's my beliefs, right? I can't really change my belief. I don't know how to change my beliefs. That's why I came in here.
Interesting. So you go with it because it's already your belief. It's
Pretty
already,
much. Yeah, it's. I feel like the idea of conditioning. You know what I mean? You're told this is the narrative to which life actually is for a long time, and basically you start perceiving reality through that lens.
it sounds like, at least on the surface, you are aware of your own conditioning and indoctrination. Have you questioned that before?
Yeah, I've questioned it, but it honestly almost points me back to the Bible and saying, maybe indoctrination and then conditioning was part of God's plan for me, and He's ultimately going to deliver me from the conditioning and indoctrination into some other realm of freedom, inward freedom. I don't know how that's going to happen exactly, but for whatever reason, I cling to the conditioning, which
Hmm.
maybe isn't the best way to be free from it.
So I would, I mean, if you're clinging to conditioning, it sounds like it's not the best way to be free from it. I would wonder if you are aware of that possibility, and does that mean that God would also be intending for those who are not conditioned or indoctrinated to be, I don't know, absent His grace, as many Christians would say?
Sorry, could you
Is God
rephrase that?
choosing for people not to be saved by having them not be conditioned or indoctrinated?
Well, no, I mean, I guess if I really got into my belief, I would say, like, if I adjusted the conditioning to the Bible, I would say that, like, that very flawed, contradicting perception that I have is the conditioning. That it's not the actual text itself or what God wrote. It's actually the doubt is the conditioning. I've been conditioned to doubt what I already know,
Mhm.
and I
You're
would say
saying,
that. Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, you said what God wrote. Do you believe God wrote the Bible?
Um, yeah, I do. I
In
think
what
that he
way?
wrote it through men. Yeah,
Oh, through men.
yeah.
So did He give them the exact words to use?
Yeah, I believe so.
Interesting. Um, so He would have chosen the words that to us are confusing. He would have chosen the words that to us seem contradictory.
Well, no. I mean, he would have. I think the idea in the Bible that it says is that the that the carnal mind is naturally enmity at war with God, basically. So when you put something good in front of something bad, they don't perceive it properly at first. But it's like if I'm a prideful person and I encounter something humble, at first it's going to look like something that's foreign to me. I don't understand it. That doesn't make any sense to me. But the more I look at it and the more I investigate it, I discover that it's actually something very valuable. But sometimes, I go back to my pride because, I'm like, I'm not sure about this humble
Remember the
stuff.
question I just asked?
I'm sorry, did you ask?
Did God choose the words that are confusing to us?
Oh, no, they're not. He didn't choose words that are confusing to us. He chose words that are foreign to us.
Foreign.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, unfamiliar, not of our nature.
Wouldn't that make
Opposite
it,
to what we would naturally.
wouldn't that make it confusing
No, I mean, I don't
if
think
it's
bringing.
opposite our nature?
Well, the opposite nature, if we were already confused to begin with, and you present someone with
confused.
something clear.
Yeah, I'm confused here. So you're saying this is clear, and that when things contradict, God's choosing those words that contradict each other
Oh, no,
because
that's not what
it's
I'm saying.
more clear, and we are just confused ourselves. He didn't make it confusing,
Yeah,
but he
yeah.
inspired every word.
Yes, he inspired every word, but when a confused person reads a something clear, uh, they what do they call it? They project their confusion onto even the pure, clear
Fascinating.
expression of God.
It's interesting how you manage to be condescending to everyone else and yourself at the same time. Good evening, Duragon. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing good. I hope everyone's doing well.
Yeah, seems we are. I bet you got some questions.
I mean, maybe a couple. We'll see how it goes. Um, Saint, do you feel like the Bible confuses you at all, or not really?
I think it's. I don't think the Bible has confused me. No, like I was telling him, I feel like I'm already confused before the Bible. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what I ought to do, what I ought not to do. And I think the Bible provides some clarity to pierce through that confusion, but maybe not all at once.
What do you feel like the Bible has given you clarity about, where you're not confused about it anymore?
My origin, um, my purpose, and my destination.
Hmm.
So this gives you, you said, clarity on your origin, purpose, and destination.
Yes.
The book that you read 80% of, that you admit is confusing, to you at least.
No, I didn't admit it was confusing to me.
Oh,
I said I
I'm
was
sorry.
confused before I read the book.
I thought you said there are parts of the book that are unclear.
Yeah, I don't think that because I don't think my ignorance is I don't think the Bible itself is unclear. I think my ignorance makes it unclear. So I think I'm the unclear, confused person, not the
Right,
text.
that's exactly what I said that you disagreed with. Go ahead, Durgon.
That's not what I said, but
Um,
okay.
so as a Christian, do you do you hold to the idea that you're made in God's image?
Uh, Originally, yeah.
Originally, what does that mean? Does that mean you don't hold to that anymore?
Well, I mean, no, I don't. There's a narrative that goes that we were created in God's image, mankind as a whole, and then we were fallen and we were deceived and fallen, and in that moment we were born into the image of the deceiver who deceived us, and then we needed salvation from that.
Okay.
Where's that from? Born in the image of the deceiver.
Oh yeah, that's I guess that would be a personal assertion. There's really no clear textual evidence of that.
So a fan theory.
You can call it that, or somebody who's experienced more than just the Bible, or more than just 80% of the Bible.
What do you mean experienced more than the Bible?
Well, I mean that, God's not limited to the Bible as his means of expressing his desires and will for us.
What do you mean
If
by
you put,
that?
it
Expressing
means
desire and will.
it means the Bible is completely useless without an environment in which to point to.
So how do you know that what you're interacting with or what you're saying is expressing itself is the biblical God?
Faith, ultimately,
So
belief that it
what
is
is
so.
faith?
Faith to me is believing that something is true.
So if you believe anything is true, regardless of evidence or not, it's faith.
Yeah, I would say that. Obviously, there's, yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
So you believe because of faith, which is believing. So you believe because of believing. Does that make any sense to you?
Well, I believe because I believe. Yeah, I believe because that I hold a belief. I don't know why I hold that belief though.
Doesn't it seem like that might be worth introspecting about, considering, questioning yourself, the why?
Maybe. I would have to ask myself a lot deeper questions than why do I believe in God? It's like, why do I believe I'm a human being? Why do I believe? The skepticism can be eternal.
So you're saying you see with eyes, experience, physically, being a human. You witness other humans, compare yourself in that, and you compare that to believing there's a God.
Yeah, I mean,
In
because
what way
when
have you experienced God?
as far as I know, what I'm looking at could be just as much God as it is whatever everyone else telling me it is.
Because
Like,
you
if you've ever
decided
heard,
it? Because you decided to think that it is?
yeah, because I
So
decided
if
to
I
think differently
decided to
than whatever
think,
you thought that I was.
so if I decided to think that the universe is just the membrane on the wing of a celestial skeletal bat goddess who unfurls her wings in accordance with the Lambda-CDM model of physics, otherwise known as the Big Bang, and is still unfurling to this day, then that I can just choose that, because
Yeah,
is
that's
why.
about as likely as God existing.
So you think it's as likely. Why do you choose to believe in a God?
Because, like I said, I like the idea of my origin being explained. I like
Does
the
it matter if
testimony of
the
Jesus.
does it matter if the explanation is not true?
If what explanation is not true?
The one from the Bible.
Does it matter if the explanation is not true?
Yes.
Ultimately not, because whether the Bible is true or not, I do believe that if you wake up in a bad dream and you realize that you've been wrong for 100 years, there's still that huge sense of relief to know that uh, you were wrong. Because if you are wrong and you find out that you were wrong, there's something right there to tell you and show you that there's. So even if I'm wrong, there'll be a relief when I find out that I am wrong.
Interesting.
Or I'll never know that I was wrong and I'll just end up in the ground and oh well.
So in this life, currently, it doesn't really matter to you if it is true or not. You simply want to believe it because it provides comfort.
Yeah, I simply prefer it to be true to the alternative about a Big Bang theory and everybody has no meaning or purpose other than
So
self-attributed
this is
purpose.
the only alternative.
Yeah, I think it's the best alternative that I've been handed.
So your leading two options are Christianity through faith, which is belief because of belief, and the Big Bang, science, and nihilism. Those are your two leading options.
Yeah, I mean, essentially,
Have you ever expanded to look at other options that are not
yeah,
those two?
yeah, I've looked at Buddhism. I've looked at all kinds of religions. I've studied them. I've studied the idea of forgetting about what ought to be, what should be. I've
Does the
tried.
Big Bang exclude Christianity?
What do you mean? Does it exclude it? Does it cancel it?
Like, if it were true, does that mean everything else you would believe about Christianity is not?
No, I don't think so. I think again, that's where like it would
So then
basically just be God creating. Like that would be
why
the
is it
creation story.
why is it that you would have to accept nihilism if you rejected Christianity? And before you answer, thank you, Tiny, for the raid. Hell yeah, welcome, raiders.
What do you mean by nihilism? I didn't know I was
You
talking
said
about nihilism.
you said that we would have to, or you would have to believe that there's no meaning, that there's nothing.
All right. So that's what nihilism is. Okay, thank you. And what was the question again? I apologize. Thank you for
Why
being
is
patient.
why is it that if you did not believe in Christianity, that you would have to embrace nihilism, believing that there's no meaning?
Because like I've seen what people do when they create their own meaning that isn't centered on Jesus's testimony, and it usually ends in them harming others in one way, shape, or form.
Fascinating. So anybody who doesn't live their life based on Jesus' testimony ends up harming people in one way or another.
Or continuing to harm people. Not that
Do
I've
people do people who follow Christianity harm people?
yeah, sure.
So then what is the difference there?
I would
If
say
people
that they're
following can harm people and people not following can harm people.
well, because I don't think anybody who genuinely believes that Jesus's testimony is the best course of action are continuing to harm people. I think religion and religion is different. There's a separation between religion and there's hearers of the word, as they say it, and doers of the word.
Hearers and doers. Fascinating. So you think that anybody who follows Jesus can't do any harm if they're following Jesus?
They're able to do harm, and they may that may be the exception, but the
You
rule
don't think
generally
in
is that
following Jesus, you don't think in following Jesus they could do any harm?
no, if you're actually following Jesus and you follow Jesus for the rest of your life, it's impossible for you to do any harm at all.
it couldn't harm your father, your mother, your sister, your brother.
No, not if you were actually following Jesus. You would have to depart from following Jesus to
Fascinating.
stop and hurt your mother or
It's
stop and
almost
hurt
like
you.
you've never read the words he said. Hello, everlasting. How you doing?
I don't know. The
Good.
Bible that I read said
How are
no
you?
one who knows him continues to sin.
Fascinating. What? We're doing great, everlasting. You said your Bible said no one who knows him continues to sin.
It says no one who has known him or has seen him continues to sin.
Fascinating. Where is that?
Thrayle, you forgot the self part also.
The
Which
what?
part?
To hate yourself also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to hate yourself. That's right. I said father, mother, sister, brother. I forgot about self. Even your own life.
Yeah, I think that's valid.
That you should hate yourself to love
Yeah,
Jesus.
absolutely.
Fascinating. That's wild. Okay. Everlasting, did you have any questions? Oh, before you do, let me thank Philly Red, or Philly in Good Faith, Always Mustard, and Scar Wolf for helping with the goal. You guys are amazing. Go ahead, Everlasting.
Yeah. So, do you believe that we are all born sinners deserving of death?
Yeah.
And so when Jesus says to love your neighbor as you love yourself, and if that's the way you see yourself, as so flawed of a being that you are in need of salvation, is that, do you think that if that's the way you love yourself, do you think that that's the way I want to be loved as your neighbor?
No, I don't. But honestly, I think that's why Jesus unalived on the cross is so that we could be empowered to love in a way we couldn't love before through
Well,
faith in Him. So,
that's
so
kind of
before,
part of
so
my question is that I don't want that. I don't need salvation. I don't see myself as, born so flawed that I deserve death and I need to be saved from that. I believe that I live as nature and there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't really want somebody loving me if they're commanded to love me the way that they love themselves. It sounds to me that if you think that you were born so flawed that you deserve death, that you're not properly loving yourself. So I don't really want somebody loving me like that. So
that's fine. I think that's a
can you
misunderstanding
see,
of the text.
is it?
Yeah, when I say love your neighbor as yourself, I basically think that means to like see others as an extension of yourself. And yeah,
Right. And if
so
you see yourself the way I just described, as you acknowledge that you believe that we are all born into this world sinners deserving of death, I don't want to be loved that way. If that's the way you perceive
well,
yourself.
that's not where it
Right.
stops. That's just justice, and then you have to introduce the mercy and grace that God's given me. So love is justice, mercy, and grace combined, not just justice. That's why Jesus went through all three stages of it, so that we could have access to God's love. Me as a sinner, I receive God's love, and yes, I recognize that me and everyone around me doesn't necessarily deserve for me to treat them the way they think that they should be treated all the time. But God loved me and gave me grace and mercy. So I want to give people around me grace and mercy when they that's what it means to love
What
my
does it
neighbor
mean
as
to hate
myself to me.
yourself?
What?
What does it mean to hate yourself?
Well, it means to hate myself. To hate myself basically means to acknowledge that I'm not good for me by my nature. I don't know if I am to lead myself, then I'm going to lead myself to my own demise.
Should you also hate your neighbor as you hate yourself?
No, I shouldn't. But I should
Just
recognize
you
that.
and your father and your mother and sister and brother.
Well, that's if you want to follow Jesus. So the idea is essentially like the prerequisite to following Jesus is realizing that you're a hater. Because if you don't realize that you're already a hater, then you can't follow
Is that
Jesus
what he
because
says?
you don't know there's
That
anything
you
wrong
must
with him.
already be a hater, or that you must hate?
Yeah, that's how I interpret that. I interpret it. This is a
see.
qualifier.
So
Hey,
you
you need,
add.
well, no,
add
Jesus
that you
qualified
were
it. He
a
said,
hater.
if anybody wants to follow me, if they want to be my follower, which means they're not my follower, and they want to be a follower, they have to acknowledge that they're haters.
Thank you, Holy Guacamole. Appreciate you for the galaxy. Hell yeah. And we knocked out another gift goal. You guys are fucking amazing. Look at that. Holy Guacamole, Barfing Toaster. And I'm pretty sure there was a third name there, and I'm going to get it in a second. But you guys are... Oh, it was Ketchup. Hell yeah. So, you think that we are already haters, and we must recognize that, and it says that in the text?
Like I said, I don't. I think the mind that God gives you to interpret Scripture can very change how you interpret things. So you interpret it in a way that's sounds carnal and logical. I think the way I interpret it sounds
I haven't
illogical
given my
and faithful.
interpretation. I'm simply asking you about yours.
Okay.
It's fascinating how many assumptions you make.
Well, I'm a sinner, man.
But you follow Jesus. I thought if you follow Jesus, you don't sin afterwards.
Yeah. No, I said you can't be following Jesus and sin at the same time. I said
So
in
you're
order
not
to
following Jesus by making these
apparently when I
assumptions.
make assumptions, yeah, that's me stopping following Jesus. But
Where
the
did
cool thing
Jesus
about
tell you
Jesus is
to-
he'll let me hop right back on the train
Where
and
did
follow
Jesus
him
tell
again.
you to stop assuming things?
He just told me through you when you made a valid truth claim that said that, hey, may you make a lot of assumptions, and he revealed to me that it was a shortcoming and a
Wow.
flaw. And then now I get to go tell God, hey, I recognize that flaw, just like I'm a hater. Now I want to follow you and not make
Do you
so many
recognize
assumptions.
the flaw of your own arrogance and the fact that you keep kind of trying to steamroll into your answers without actually waiting to hear through the questions? Do you recognize the flaw that you're bringing to this panel with your attitude of superiority?
I don't think I'm superior. I just have answers because I'm the one being questioned. I'm not going to take every accusation to heart from you, but when it's right and the Holy Spirit convicts me, I'll take it.
You just think you're right. That's not arrogance.
You think you're
You
right
just
behind your
think you
questions.
have answers.
You've
How
been
do I
implying
think I'm
rightness
right?
the whole time.
Wow. Again, with your assumptions and condescension. It's almost like
Okay.
you don't know 1 Peter 3:15.
Oh, it's almost like that didn't sound superior of you to say.
So I take it you don't know 1 Peter 3:15.
No, I don't memorize Bible verses. I don't worship the Bible.
Interesting.
Stephen, do you think that this is an interrogation? That it's just like us questioning you and see how good you can give the answers? Do you
Not
think
at
that's the
all.
purpose
Not
of
at
this?
all. No, I feel like you're challenging my beliefs. Absolutely. But again,
Well,
But he's
but-
not willing to
but-
challenge his own. He's simply here
That's
to
the thing.
defend them. He thinks he's here to defend his beliefs, which is
that's an assumption,
very
brother.
disrespectful.
That's an
We've
assumption,
seen
brother.
it. We've watched it. We've witnessed
Okay.
evidence of it.
Okay. Well, what? Okay. Well.
Do you see the prompt says, can you question your beliefs?
You just asked me questions. I was answering them, and then I essentially I was just waiting for the next question, and the next question I just answered them as truthfully as possible. And then you started accusing me
Interesting.
of being flawed in different ways and being arrogant.
Fascinating.
So like that's where we've gotten off to this topic where I'm not questioning my beliefs anymore.
Um,
Durgon's got a question.
let me try to just bring it back just for a moment. Stephen, when you look at the scripture telling you that your righteousness is equal to filthy rags, but at the same time you're made in the image of God. Do you feel like this could be at all confusing for people?
Yeah, I think it can be absolutely confusing without a spirit of truth living in somebody.
Okay, so, people who have the spirit of truth, they won't be confused by this then.
Yeah, ideally they don't waste time in confusion because you can't be walking by faith and be confused simultaneously.
So what happens with people who are confused with their beliefs or their faith?
They get stuck.
That's it? They're
Yeah, they
just
get
stuck in
stuck
that.
and they can't grow anymore, and they get frustrated, and they don't know what they're doing. And basically they get stuck. That's been my experience.
Hmm.
Ultimately, I believe God does that for their own good, to humble them, to make you feel, to not think that you should be able to understand something just because you think right now that you deserve or you should be able to understand it at this moment. But I think God works in His own time, and sometimes He has to slow us down.
Do you have thoughts on people who and because we do see a lot of people who after reading the Bible kind of start moving away from their faith. Their faith starts deconstructing.
What was the question about the people who read and want to deconstruct? Do I have
Yeah,
thoughts
I'm
on them?
asking. Yeah, I'm asking you if you have thoughts on like people after they actually educate themselves with the Bible, they start leaving the faith.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not sure what the term is, but it's like um, I think if you go into it with an answer already decided before you read it, you'll find proof of exactly that. So if you go in with it looking for reasons for it to be false, I think you're going to find a lot of reasons for it to be false.
Do you
It's
think the
like,
same as if you go in looking for it to be true?
yeah, absolutely. Jesus said, "Seek and ye shall find."
If you assume it is true, it will appear to be true.
No, if you assume it is true, then it'll be revealed to you that it is true. But if you assume that it's
Fascinating.
false, it's going to be revealed to you that it's false.
Confirmation bias.
On both ways, yep.
So it'll be revealed to you.
Yeah, just like it's revealed to somebody that it's not true.
What do you mean by revealed?
Come to an understanding within.
Hmm.
Everlasting or Durgon, if you guys have any more questions, this is probably your best chance.
Are you making like? Are you taking the position that the confirmation bias is like? Is it good if it's to seek God, but not good if it's to, not gain this understanding? You're acknowledging that both would be confirmation bias. Is one acceptable and one isn't?
I would say um, everything's permissible, but not everything is constructive, and I don't think it's constructive to go in with the confirmation bias that it's false. I do believe it to be constructive to go into it believing it's true because I ultimately believe it is true. So if I was giving advice to somebody, I would say go into it believing it's true, not believing it's false, because the outcome matters. Because you're either going to believe that this is good or you're going to believe that this is bad. And after I went through it, through my confirmation bias, it made my life a lot better. So I want to help other people's lives become better.
I guess I have maybe two questions. What would your life look like for yourself if you were to come to, let's say, the reality that all of this was a lie or none of it was true?
I wouldn't know. It'd be completely speculatory.
Sure, that's fair. Do you have
Thank
any
you guys
doubt?
for having me up. I appreciate you. Like, this was interesting for me. It was, hopefully we all questioned our beliefs a little bit, but we still believe. It's funny. That's what I'm saying. The confirmation bias is here. Look, we all still believe exactly what we believed when we came in and
Came
left.
up
It doesn't
intending
matter.
to. You didn't come up here in good faith. It's quite clear you didn't come up here to question your beliefs, but to give your unique perspective on it.
No, I wanted you guys to question my beliefs and challenge
You
me.
didn't come up here to question your beliefs. You didn't come up here to respond to the prompt that you can question your beliefs. And
I
you've also
apologize to
been
you,
quite
brother.
disrespectful to talk over me, so I'm going to move on before you do it one more time. Fascinating. The brainwashing was so pungent.
Yeah, it's like rapid fire cliches. Had
Well,
one
you know
cocked
what?
and loaded, ready to go.
But you know what? I would say that the one thing that probably stuck in my mind is the idea that seek and you will find is usually we do look for whatever we're looking into. We might have some biases. So I think that's kind of interesting. And it doesn't have to be about faith, it could be about anything. And you could be proven wrong also, and that's okay. That's good.
Well, I mean, we find what we focus on, right? So
Yeah.
if you decide your next Mercedes is going to be a red Mercedes, then you're going to probably notice more red Mercedes out there on the road.
Well,
Doesn't mean there's more of them than usual. It just means that you're noticing more.
yeah, that's true. But I think when I'm looking into getting another Mercedes, color isn't really the biggest issue that I'm focused on. But yeah. Red Mercedes is good. Red Mercedes is good Mercedes.
In my hypothetical, you just really want a red Mercedes.
I can see that.
Hello, Marco. Can I get your age for TikTok TOS?
Oh, do I have to?
Yep.
64. I'll be 65 in 2.
Oh, somebody was quick on the finger. Yeah, you do have to. Go ahead and request back up. I'll bring you right to the front if you are open to answering questions. Yeah, it's like the first question. Somebody was just ready for you to be a little more antagonistic than he was. Yeah.
That wasn't me. 64. Happy birthday, by the way.
It might have been me.
I'm
Hello,
64.
Marco. Great.
Happy birthday.
And do you have a belief in a god or God's higher power? Or
Not
like
exactly.
That? Not exactly. What do you mean by that?
I'm open. And I can question whatever I'm told. or see or feel. I'm looking for a belief. Does that make sense?
You're looking for a belief, so you consider yourself to not believe at the moment?
Well, I believe, but I'm not sure. I don't know what I believe.
You're in the market for a religion or a faith?
That's a good one. I'm in the market.
So
Window
you believe,
shopping.
you believe, but you don't know what you believe.
Well, about 15 years ago, I was married to a Catholic. And I attended Catholic church. And I'm not saying it was the religion, their faith. It could have been like the moderator, like the priest, the way he's enthralling, he pulls you in the way he speaks. But then it was, I couldn't convert because I'd been married before. So I had to get an annulment in a marriage that the Catholic Church didn't believe. So the God thing and all that faith, that went away for me. That was depressing. Like, help me.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out what it is you currently believe. If you have a belief now, is there a God that you think is there, or something like it?
I believe there's something there. I don't know if it's a God or like there's something out there, some kind of frequency, electricity. I believe that.
Why?
I don't know if it's the God or
Why
there's
would
so
you
many
believe-
gods. Which one am I supposed to believe in?
So why would you believe in any of them?
Well, I never thought of that. Great. Now you've put something else in my head. I want to believe in.
Have you done a statistical poll? Have you done a statistical poll on the different gods and what
No.
the percentage of the populations that believe in these gods?
Christianity is the largest belief. Christianity, but Christianity covers like Anglican, Protestant, Methodist, like born again Christians. Aren't isn't that all under the same umbrella? Why is there so many? Shouldn't the God all be the same?
I don't know.
Well, okay, I'll tell you what happened. This is going to sound really weird.
Hang on, real quick. Can I ask you what is God in your mind?
I don't have an image. I don't have a. I think we are God. Like, we make our own lives. We make our own decisions. Like, I don't think God decides. Like that fellow that was on before. If you believe and follow Jesus, you'll do no harm. Well, there's proof that that's not true. Right? So
not that God. The God is whatever God is in your
Yeah, but
mind is
what
the
is
God
that?
he was
Yeah.
describing.
yeah, like I
You know what negative theology is? Have you ever heard that term?
no. Hang on, I gotta write that down. What is there a short version, a Cole's notes or negative?
Yeah, it's just describe God by what it's not.
Describe.
Like God is not jealous. God is not, have these human emotions, characteristics, so on and so forth. Based on what this God is in your mind, like describe it in a way that it's not.
I don't know. Like to see the destruction and the suffering that my God wouldn't allow that. Like, how can people be that ugly, that horrible to others? Like, my God would stop it. That's what my God, in my mind, that he wouldn't allow all this that's happening. Like, kids dying, people being bombed. It just, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, God to me is good.
So if you see people being bombed and people, being harmful towards one another, and the God that you're imagining isn't stopping that, does that mean that the God you're imagining doesn't exist?
No, it just isn't as I imagined. Like, I can't say that God doesn't exist because I don't know what the God.
Well, you just said the God you imagine wouldn't allow that.
Right, but that's my perception. Your perception of your God and how you imagine your God is not going to be the same way as I imagine mine.
Well, we're not talking about my God. We're talking about the God the God you imagined wouldn't allow that, yet that occurs.
Yeah.
So wouldn't that logically follow that the God you were imagining doesn't exist?
Or he does, but he's not God.
But if he's allowing it, then he's not the God you're
He's not the God
imagining.
I want. He's not the God I want to believe in or follow or no. So what does that do to me? Like, I've just had this epiphany that in the last week that I'm going to go to church on Sunday.
Congratulations.
I don't know. Like,
Why?
I had
are
a
you going to
friend.
go to church on Sunday?
Why am I going to go to church?
Mm-hmm.
It's been 5 years since my daughter died. And then I had a friend die, but his brother should have died. And that's what everyone was expecting because he had cancer. And it's just so many things. And then I got this overwhelming need to believe in something.
So you go to church hoping
No.
for your answers?
I
Why do you go to church?
haven't gone yet. I haven't been in like decades,
That's
but
okay.
I'm going to go. And yes, you're right. I'm looking for answers. Am I going to find them?
What do you need?
Reasons for things that happen, I suppose. Like,
What if there are none?
I'm hoping that you can give me different answers.
I
Like you-
understand.
Obviously you're on this, like you guys follow and talk about this all the time. I'm assuming.
Maybe. Doesn't matter.
Maybe. Okay.
You know.
So, I know people they've had their faith for ages and ages, and it carries them through.
Do you think they have answers or do you think they have faith?
Faith, not answers.
So is that what you're seeking?
Yes.
Do you think that faith will give you the answers that you seek?
Or
the
peace. I think I know that there's a lot of things in the world that I'm never going to get answers to, but faith may give me peace. And
Well, I wonder where the peace comes from. Where do you think that peace comes from?
well, I don't know. I haven't found it yet.
Right. And so I do think there's a difference between seeking answers and seeking peace. I don't know that seeking answers will bring a lot of peace. I think that faith is the answer for a lot of people, but I don't think that that's what you're looking for because you don't have it, right?
No, I don't have I don't have the faith. I want the faith in something. I don't know what though. Like, how do you know where to go and which one is like? Is it like you find a therapist? You have to have a good relationship. Is it the same thing with a church and like a faith?
I wonder if there are no answers, what's next?
I hate that question.
It's hard.
I don't know. Like, I know I have to accept it, and I feel that having a belief in something is going to help me accept it.
Will it, though?
Oh, you're not helping. Come
I
on.
know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Uh,
Because, like, you're asking the right question, so you're seeking the right thing, right? Like, seeking answers, but sometimes there are no answers, right? And so then what do we do?
I don't know. Do you have an answer to that?
Hmm.
If there's no answers, and if I don't get answers, and God doesn't come to me, reveal Himself or herself,
You already answered that, though. You
I
already
did.
answered what you would do if you were not provided the answer. What you would do. What did you say?
I don't know.
You said acceptance.
Accept the answer, but life
No,
is going to suck.
you just
Accept,
said acceptance, and so it's kind of like at that point, how do we deal, right? If we don't
yeah,
have answers, if we also
yes.
don't have faith, because I don't think that faith is required. Like if you can just accept, how do we get there, and what does that look like, and how do we reconcile? How do we move forward? If we don't know, how can we keep going? And
Okay.
I think you can get there, you know,
But how? Like,
whatever it takes to find peace. Because you won't get all the answers, even if you have faith. There's no answers in faith. Faith is the fill in the blank. You know what I mean? Like you're going through a lot of like really hard feelings, and you want answers. That having faith in something doesn't actually give you anything concrete. It's just a hope. It's a comfort. You can also find comfort in a non-answer, in the unknown.
Can
okay,
I
okay, I get.
guide?
Oh,
Can I give you maybe a direction to
yes,
look into that? Hey, if this gives you some kind of a tool that helps you, great. If not,
please.
look, I don't do this very often, but in the Bible, in Philippians 4:11, Paul talks about learning to be content with what situation you're in. Um, and I think there's a lot of different ways to go about doing that. Meditation, just whatever. I don't know, but I think the idea, if that helps you, great. If not, sorry for wasting your time about it.
No, 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 no. I appreciate any direction, any direction.
Sure.
It's just I want to believe in something. I've never had a faith in anything.
Look, this Bible verse isn't like, this isn't me like being preachy about it. This isn't me trying to push an idea on you. It's just you could have picked this up anywhere else also. Um, just the idea of a everything um is
Is
kind of
everything?
everything is kind of like temporary, like the happiness that you have when you have it. Don't hold on to it too tight, and when things are rough, yeah, I mean things might even get rougher, but where you're at, it doesn't usually stay there forever.
Yeah, things get rougher, but I just think it would be nice to have that background face support, so, like in the rough times.
Do you think that that only exists within religious practice?
Oh no, because I wouldn't have lasted this long if I thought that. No, support. Um, I I just okay. Does anyone believe in like signs that you've been given all your life, but all of a sudden you start seeing them?
What do you mean?
Like when I'm looking and I had this, I need to believe in something. A friend is all of a sudden involved with a born again Christian, okay? And then all of a sudden, this pastor, Methodist, and they made impressions. Like I was drawn to and wanting to learn about their faith. Like to me, though, it was like I'm being pointed in a direction. Do I take it? Like, is it going to help? Am I going to be disappointed and it's going to be worse?
What I will ask you is, have these kind of things been happening throughout your life and you never assigned any significance to them?
Possibly,
I'm
but
sure, yeah, like throughout your life, has somebody joined a church, found somebody that they found, maybe read a cool horoscope that meant really,
yes, yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? Like,
And
and
it
during
never,
those times,
yeah, doesn't
right,
hit you though.
right. And can we, have you thought about why those things would seem more significant now than they did before?
Well,
Within yourself.
yes. I thought, okay, maybe somebody's calling me, or I'm someone, God is revealing Himself and directing me, or I've had a lot of death, like my friend just
Mhm.
died, right?
Right.
At the same time, 5 years, my daughter died before that. So is it because is it happening just now because of those deaths? Like, has anybody been called or, heard God or like, how do you know? Like,
So we as human beings, we look for patterns.
Mhm.
This is ingrained within our biology.
patterns.
Um, we look for patterns.
What type of,
Um,
I don't understand that.
so like I mean, so my grandmother passed away on my dad's birthday,
I'm very sorry
and
about
that's
that.
something. No. This is like I mean, she passed away in 2000. That was
Doesn't
like
matter. Grief
26 years
doesn't go
ago.
away.
Well, no, I understand that, and just uh, I I don't.
Go ahead.
Anyways, I apologize. But it's we look for patterns, like we look for things to try to make connections in ways, and potentially this could be one of the reasons why it's so easy for humanity to like have like these beliefs within like faiths. Um, uh, and I can't tell you one way or another what the case is. I mean, I have my own beliefs, and it's I could sit here and talk about it forever, but I think whatever
What you
whatever
just
the
said though
things.
about the pattern thing, like, do we look for that to make us feel better? Like,
We do that to um what's the word I'm looking for? Not assign meaning
Brain
to
defaults to
things.
organization, right? Our
Jesus
brain
Christ.
defaults to recognition.
Yeah, like we try to assign isn't really the best word. I think there's a better word to say there. Um, to assign meaning to things. Um, and it's because of that whole thing. It's we can see why human beings have beliefs in faith. Um, like it might be a coping mechanism. It could be
that was
uh,
good. Coping mechanism.
right. But I think ultimately, look, man, we go through some hard stuff, right? Like life is not easy, and just when you think like you feel like okay, shit can't get worse any worse because like you've already hit rock bottom, and then all of a sudden the rocks start coming out, and there is a bottom lower than that. I get it, and it's sometimes it's hard to like push through. Um,
But do you see people that have that faith in their God, whichever one, like they manage better?
No.
not in all
No,
cases.
not
I
okay.
look. I think it's going to be the spectrum on things like this is so far and in between that you can't really gauge and say that people who have a belief in a faith do better over people who don't. Because I could sit here and tell you like all of the horrible things that like I've seen people go through, um, like and my whatever struggles I've had in my life pretty much don't even look like a dent. Um, but it's on a very individual it's on a very individual scale. So I don't think it really makes sense to even try to go down that road. But I think that trying to find something to occupy yourself,
To make it all better.
well, not even make it all better, but
But is that what I'm looking for? God, like, is that why I'm looking? Like, I don't want to look for. Like okay, you know how they used to say brainwashing when
it,
in certain times.
but hold
like,
on. If it helps you, if it makes your life easier, if it makes your life better, and if you end up in a better place, like just whatever time you have, if it puts you in a better direction, or things move in a way where it's more, I don't want to keep using the word better, just you get
Not
what I'm
better,
saying.
but it. I know what you're saying. So depending on
Then,
what it does for my self worth,
well, is that worth it for you? Like, is that something that you would want? Is that something that you feel like, hey, maybe I do deserve a little bit of this in my life?
Are you,
I think I used to volunteer and help people. That's
Okay,
that made me happy. Like I felt good.
right.
So
I see Kira's hand.
I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I don't know how helpful this will be. Because I don't know that there are answers for the questions that you have. But when we were talking earlier about acceptance, what I was going to get around to was methods that you can use to make things easier to accept. And a personal practice that I have, and you can take it or leave it, that I find really helpful in grief is remembrance, right? The remembering the times that you had with them, remembering the blessings they brought to your life, the gifts they brought to your life, the presents they brought to your life, acknowledging the impact they had on the world around them and the things that are lasting, because every single person has some lasting impact on, even if it was just one person. You saw them smile and it was a magical moment for you. Like remembering them is a really good way to accept that even though we don't have the answers, we don't know why they were taken earlier than what we were prepared for, right? We want everyone to live a long and lasting life. That's not always the case. This is humanity. This is the human experience. Being able to remember them, being able to honor them. For me, it's like a veneration practice where I remember them often. I actually have like an ancestor altar where I go and remember them weekly, right? There are things that ease that.
It,
don't have answers. I don't know why.
You just went totally static there.
We lost you right at the end there, Kira.
Oh shit, sorry. I don't know what's happening with my service, but can you guys hear me
I
now?
understand. I hear what you're
Yeah,
saying.
you're back now.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and yes,
And maybe it'll help ease that. Even without answers, even without faith, there is the impact they left behind that you can't change. You know what I mean?
yes.
You can acknowledge
Be
and honor
glad.
them,
Be glad
and
of the
maybe that
time
will.
you had them.
Yeah, but that's all that I have, right? And that's okay for me. I'm okay with that.
Okay, so I
I don't know
have
if
a
it'll help.
question. I'd like some advice from all of you. So, is this not
Really an
this
advice
isn't a good
panel.
time for me to like be deciding on a faith.
No.
That's what I'm getting from each of you.
I would say no. Just what I would probably say is question the things that you're experiencing. Question the things that you're already questioning.
That's all I do is question. But I'm good. Like what you said, Kira. Concentrate on what you remember, the good times, and what you have with them. That's something I need to be happy with, without answers of why they died, and then look for my faith.
It may help with acceptance. I don't know that faith is required.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm going with you. I'm gonna try that.
Recognize that you are in a highly emotional state, and that means you are vulnerable and
Yes.
impressionable, right? And so leave off on any big decisions, any clinging to one idea or the other for a while. Like, just try to sit with it for a minute, because I would hate for you to be manipulated into something during this vulnerable place in your experience.
That's what
isn't
I'm afraid of.
right. And so I would just hold off. I would just hang out with yourself for a minute and
Well, I might hang out with you guys, because
that's okay too.
I want a faith. I know I do, but I don't think it's the right time for me after listening to this to go choose one.
You want a faith, you know you do.
I know. Is that
How is it that you know that?
I just know things. I don't know. I feel it.
You feel that you want a faith.
I don't know. I don't know if it's. I'm gonna say God just for the sake of a name, but I believe in. Like when we die, I believe it's like we move on.
Look, how about let's maybe take a little bit of time and just focus on doing some of the things that make you happy, and everything else will kind of maybe just come along or not.
It makes sense. Yeah, that's a good idea too. But I'm open to reincarnation.
I'm open to most anything right now, and that's all right.
Seems like it.
I want to come back as my cat.
As your cat, specifically.
Well,
Do I need to pull out my D&D dice and we could just
what is that?
nothing?
Does somebody want to be a missionary for D&D right now? I feel like if he's looking for faith, if he's looking for a new, we could introduce him to Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, Dungeons and Dragons. I know what that is.
I'm being completely facetious. Don't listen to me. You're vulnerable. You're impressionable.
No, I don't play that. I don't understand it. I have a friend's daughter. There's like 20 of them, and they do it every week.
Okay, it's okay. Let's just look. Just one thing that I've been trying to do recently that I feel like is good. I'm not able to do it all the time because I fail as a human being. But what's the next right step? Do the next right thing.
I love that.
Even if you don't know you're sticking your nose in it, like you're going too far. Like you're saying do the right thing. So having like if you're gonna believe in God, to me it's I want to do the right thing. I
I
want to
just hold on. Just
not
look.
even believe in God. I want to be a good
Let's
person.
okay. Right. Let's clean everything off of the table real fast. Yeah. We have the table. Everything we just knocked it over. It's all over the floor. We'll clean up the floor later. Right now, you're looking at the table. What's the next right thing? That's it.
To do something good for a family.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Focus on that.
Great.
Focus on that.
And then go on to the next. I just wrote that somewhere. How did you know that? Just do it.
There we go.
Okay, that's my verification. That's what I needed. Thank you.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for coming up, Margot.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you. I do. And I hope you keep. I mean, nobody's going to stop you. You can't even stop you from asking questions. So I hope you keep asking questions.
Oh, I'll be
We
back
get to
asking
see you
questions. You have the answers, I hope.
No.
Thank you.
But we can
Thank you.
definitely help you find more questions.
Thank you.
Margo.
Also, you might find the Discord
Oh, yeah.
a good place.
You know, I can go
Discord.
ahead. Yeah.
Where's that?
There's
What
a
is
link
that?
tree in my bio. Discord's another app where people can meet and gather and
All
message
right,
boards
thanks.
and chat rooms.
I'll check it out. Thank
It's
you.
where we have It's where we have Discord with other people.
If you check out the link tree in my bio or the Batcolyte bio, you'll
I'll
find
do that.
a link to our Discord.
Thanks.
And if you want to reach
Thank
out
you,
to me or
Marco.
Kira or Durgon, we can help you. Well, Durgon
Have a good
doesn't like
weekend.
Discord, but we can help you find it.
I am completely useless there. I apologize.
Thank you, Marco.
Thanks.
You.
Appreciate you too.
Oh, and even got him in the middle of a sentence. Hell yeah.
Very good. Got the dub. Dubs for Margot. Bless you. That's a tough thing to navigate.
I think we should pull like a Luke 14 on some of the people in the comments. Tell them that
What does
like,
that mean? Help me.
yeah, I'm gonna explain it right now. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love this, Kira. This is really really good.
I don't know about that.
So, if you have a belief in a god or gods or anything like that, and you're open to questioning your beliefs, please feel free to request and be a guest, and we can ask you some questions. And if you don't, but you might have friends or family members who do, invite them over here. And we could
Durgan,
ask them questions.
Did you say that's Luke 14? Is this biblical now?
Well, I mean, it talks about like mother and father and family and stuff. So I figured, like, hey, if we start like if the well starts drying up, where we've ran through all of the people who are the guests here, maybe they can invite some of their friends and family members, and we could question them.
Morgan says invite your worst enemy.
Enemies,
Enemies.
X's, and entities.
Oh, invite your entities. I want to speak to your entities, please.
I would like to speak to your entities. I think I've had some of. I wouldn't call them enemies. I don't think I have any enemies. Well, at least I don't know. But there have been some people on this panel that I'm not too fond of. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. There have been a few that have claimed to be entities.
I don't know that my entities have TikTok accounts, but I'm gonna try.
With friends like these, who needs entities?
Precisely.
It's great. Thrayle, have you thought about doing a cowboy hat?
Oh, he's in Texas. He's got to have
I
at
am in
least
Texas.
7, and 2 of those have got to be 10 gallons.
I don't actually own any cowboy hats.
Oh, god damn it!
They're expensive. It is like an investment to get a good cowboy hat and or boots.
Boots, yes. Hat, really?
Yeah, the hats, they get
Oh,
up
yeah.
there.
Oh.
I keep forgetting
you
what
know-
those. Go ahead.
I was going to say, have you ever heard Cyber like break down the whole cowboy hat thing?
No.
So he only buys vintage Stetsons because they're the only ones that are made of beaver pelt, like authentic beaver pelt. Anything after, I think, 1978 or 76 or some weird year like that, he said is like some kind of like weird blend.
I think it's weird to have 1970s raggedy ass beaver pelts on your head, but that's just me.
That's because you've never had a beaver crush your head.
Don't assume. That's your first mistake.
Hello, Omi.
Hello, Omi. Can we get your age for TikTok TOS?
I'm 26.
And do you have a belief in a god or gods, higher power, or anything like that?
Well, I was showing up with my Pantheon as requested. No, I'm joking. I actually came up because I was having an interesting discussion, and I wanted to hear your point of view on this because the discussion was on the theory of yes.
I asked if you had a belief in a god or gods.
Well, I mean, we've had this discourse, but it's been a long time. But I'm an apatheist, so it's I guess like I'm pragmatic. It doesn't metaphysics doesn't really dictate my life, but I'm an anthropologist, so I study like comparative religion and things like that. So I like questioning these different things. But what I was
So you don't have a belief?
I mean, I guess like I have like cultural beliefs that I hold relatively.
Cultural beliefs.
So like, I could talk about, Chumash folklore or Celtic folklore or Yoruba folklore, but they're all just like different symbolic interactions with like the environment. So like I'm not like a literalist, I guess, in a sense, but I also like I guess this was a line of reasoning that I was trying to express to somebody earlier, was that I feel like sometimes atheism as we know it is it's very like Eurocentric and reactionary to like Christianity, and it's not really it doesn't necessarily engage with all theism or other types of like magical thinking. So it's kind of interesting to have like that tension, I think, that's there.
Mm-hmm. And you said you are an apatheist of sorts, and that
yeah,
basically metaphysical things don't matter to you.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I still gotta wake up in the morning and be a decent human being.
Do you believe that there are magical things that occur to cultural traditions?
No, well, so like No, but I don't like the term magical, but for me, like spirituality I view through like an ecological lens. And so like when understanding ideas of like deities, like a lot of it I look through like traditional ecological knowledge and how it like codifies that in a non um like in a cultural like liturgical device versus like say biology as a science. So like I think a lot of these things like I wouldn't describe them as magical. I would describe it as like traditional ecological knowledge.
Like encoded ethnobotanical knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm an ethnobotanist.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I was actually going to ask what kind of anthropology do you do?
Yeah, I'm a ethnobotanist. I minor in indigenous studies, but my graduate work that I'm pursuing is ecological anthropology.
You said we spoke before.
Yeah, it's probably been like a year though. I used to get on your panel for a while, but I got busy with school and life and things like that, and had a 10-month sabbatical from TikTok.
I bet that was so nice.
Oh, it was. It was. I had the disconnect from the technological psychosis that is our contemporary existence.
I mean, what do you think that atheism in the Western sense would look like if it wasn't Eurocentric?
I think if atheism wasn't Eurocentric, it would be less focused on like deities as in like anthropocentric sort of like godhead figures, like as in the Christian mythos, or like literalism as like if like I'm looking at a Greek god, I'm thinking of a human in the sky. And like, you know, these sort of like prescriptive or descriptive sort of like ideas of what theism is, because like there's a lot of theism around the world that looks totally different than that and behaves and operates totally different. And
That same skin.
what's that?
Oh, but still wears that same skin.
Right, right. Like if you're like, for example, like how do we talk about deified ancestors, where it's like, okay, this is the goddess of such and such, but she was a living person that people venerate and like ascribed sort of like legendary qualities with time. So it's like, you know, a living person became an archetype that we're now calling a goddess. Like, you know, I feel like atheism doesn't really, as we commonly see it, you know, today, like I feel like atheism doesn't really engage meaningfully with like that kind of conversation.
No, I completely agree. I love that. Thank you.
And also like what's interesting too is when you take like Christianity, I actually like if I do talk about Christianity, I prefer to like engage with it like historically, because a lot of Christians like when you take a religion, all religions start in a very like specific area of, like geographically, and they're informed by a bioregion, so like the plants and the geology and the animals and the people who live there. But then when you abstract it from the place, and then you have this sort of disembodied belief system, like it's interesting because the meaning is not there, and so then we have to like have these vague platitudes and like ideas of the world that are disconnected, and then it becomes universal, which is actually antithetical to what the religion was originally doing. So like, yeah, like most Christians have no idea what it's like to be from the Levant or to travel between the Tigris and Euphrates, but they still believe in this pastoral mythos, and they have zero context for the ideas. They don't even speak the language Yeah.
I do need to stop us. Sorry, Omi. I appreciate your insights on this, but I want to drive us back to the topic
Yeah.
of questioning beliefs in gods and higher powers and stuff like that. You don't have a belief, right?
Well, I'm a Buddhist, and like I have like that's why I said I have cultural beliefs, but like I'm not attached to them in like a literalist sense. It's more like a traditional like community identifier and like a lived practice. Yeah.
So you do you believe in reincarnation?
Yeah, I believe in reincarnation.
What does that mean?
Well, for me, like I'm more rooted, like when I describe it, I'm more rooted in materialism. So, and also like I don't believe from a Buddhist framework, there's no soul. So there isn't a literal ego being reborn. So like what is being reborn is a set material things. So like this body is created of certain elements and like those come together as plants that are consumed by animals, which then facilitate our existence, and that process itself is the reincarnation. And then like within our own lifetime of like the persona that we engage in, from our child
Metaphorical
development.
reincarnation.
Well, yeah, well, I
but
wouldn't
as
say
far
it's
as
metaphorical though, because for example, like there's here, one second. I gotta get the door.
Thrayle, will you drop me? I
curious,
gotta go to bed. Yeah.
Yep, appreciate you so much.
But sorry, essentially, like it's not metaphorical because I guess the literal sense is that like you're not going to be the same person you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, right? So, and there's aspects of yourself that are different, and then there's aspects of yourself that you return to. And so it's kind of like when you have those like icebreakers where they ask
But
you,
these are, but still, as far as reincarnation goes, my
right?
question was about an afterlife rebirth.
Oh, about
cycle
afterlife? No, I don't believe in
related to
afterlife.
the Buddhist belief.
Right. The closest to that I would posit is like ideas materializing, like that consciousness of a person materializing in a new material way. So like, okay, the sort of consciousness and the persona of like a past lived person, those ideas can manifest in somebody new, which then people ascribe to this like magical like phenomena.
So you don't ascribe it to any magical phenomena, though.
No.
I see. And as far as ascension through meditation, do you believe that is some possibility that you could
Yeah, like I
meditate
find
yourself into a beam of light?
Well, in the sense that like with transcendental states of consciousness, I feel like consciousness is non-material, so it's not local to the brain. So and like you can have out of body experiences from like transcendental states, so I do believe in that.
What is a transcendental state?
So like the transcendental state is sort of like dissolving aspects of like form. So like your senses and deconstructing the sort of like in body perception and and then that experience of disembodiment either temporally or physically.
Disembodiment. Do you believe that this is an actual occurrence, that you are disembodied?
Like the consciousness, not like some sort of spirit, because I don't believe in a spirit, but the consciousness itself.
What is consciousness?
A non-material, like subjective perception of our environment.
Non-material.
Yeah, like it's not just like the brain itself. It's a relationship of the neurons in the brain with other faculties of the body, with like non-material like experience. Or yeah, it's kind of a hard way that it, and that's, and the like connect it to quantum physics. It's kind of like the issue of the observer. Yeah.
Sorry, with quantum physics.
With quantum physics, like the issue of the observer. So like when observing phenomena like through particle physics, like they behave differently when we are watching them than when
we are watching them.
Yeah.
Is it specifically us watching that is making them behave differently?
I believe yes, from my understanding.
Almost there.
When you make an observation in an anthropological study, does that always mean that like a human being has to be present, or could the observation be made like automatically via like a picture or an audio recording?
Well, even when you have an audio recording, eventually when you play the audio, it's being listened to by a human being, right?
Yes, but the observation within the scientific context is not necessarily when you watch it, it's the recording of an instance, correct?
Yeah, but it's like hard because even so, like you could have a video recording, an audio recording,
Yes,
some
so
type of recording.
Is it okay? That's not the important part. So, is it possible that when they mean observation, they mean measurement, not that a human being has to be there?
Well, from my understanding, I'll pull up the specific terminology, but from my understanding is they distinguish between the measurement itself and the observation of the measurement. And so like the observation of the measurement manipulates the measurement, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you might want to double check that.
While he does that, thank you guys for the 41,000 times you've tapped the screen and the 111 times you've shared the live. Every one of those taps and shares helps get us out to the FYP and maybe across the screen of somebody who's curious enough or courageous enough to question their beliefs. Or maybe you can share the live out to someone you've seen questioned here before. Maybe they've been waiting for their chance to question the questioner.
I'm afraid I'm not going to make it, so I'll have to do that another day, buddy. All right, thanks for having me. Thanks for the gifts, everybody. See you all later.
Hell yeah, appreciate you, Everlasting.
Okay, so like when I looked at it, it's the specific language that it says is that the act of measuring changes the phenomena being measured. And the specific subject is with quantum mechanics and particle physics.
Yes, so it's the measuring.
Yeah, the act of measuring itself changes it, supposedly, that as quantum physicists describe.
And do you know how you measure a particle and what that causes within the quantum mechanics?
Well, there's like a few different measurements to my understanding. And like one is with like the wavelength theory, that the particles move in a wave, but that movement changes when being measured or observed.
No, not like what is being measured, but like how you measure a particle and what that would do to the nature of quantum, like the quantum reality.
I mean, vaguely, yes, but I'm not like a particle physicist, so I wouldn't have a lot of nuance on the technology being used. But I know, like, particle colliders and some of electron microscopes and things like that.
Is it possible that to measure a particle, you have to interact with it in a way that causes the wave function to collapse? And thus, that is the change that is being caused.
The act of engaging with the particle is the change. Is that what you're saying specifically?
Yeah, is it possible that interacting with the particle causes decoherence?
I mean that I'm sure that's possible. But like the people who major in this field have greater nuance than I would, but so I wouldn't be able to make a definitive statement on what the mechanism is for the change.
Yeah, that's fair. We love and I don't know.
If quantum mechanics isn't quite the way you thought it was, would that cause you to question any other beliefs?
Well, like for me, like I hold everything with like relativism, and so like, and then observing cultural. Sorry, my battery's low. Cultural phenomena through biological mechanisms, and then with like the physical materialism, with non-material things, and so like there's like a nexus of different things and interacting with each other, and then all's being perceived through like my faculties. So like I'm always like questioning like the different layers to that.
What do you mean by subscribing to relativism? I'll just butchered that word.
Like as in like I don't like as in like there isn't like one centrally correct understanding or like value of things. So like I wouldn't center the Western Science Project as the end all be all or thing in which all other things are to be measured in value, and vice versa with like any other sort of cultural or scientific like reference point.
Isn't it discrediting the immense amount of work that like Middle Eastern, Indian, and like all Asian scientists that have been working like in correspondence with Western science for like a good thousand or so a couple thousand years, like
Like
since
this,
the
wait,
invention
what's
of
being
Arabic numerals, to
what would be?
like separate Western science from world science.
I mean, for that's the relativism, right? Because what the Western Project likes to do is essentially to plagiarize traditional knowledge systems and sciences of different people around the world. Whether it's medicine from Africa or North America, or if it's, calculus from South Asia. If it, so I think we're saying that, like, what you're saying is not in contention with what I said.
It's a lot of background noise.
Sorry, I'm like multitasking.
Did you have a follow-up to that, Blake?
Yes, I get what you're saying, that the that within the Western sphere, we often discredit the science from, or scientists from around the world, and claim to be the first at things. But I do think that at times claiming that, like, Western versus Eastern science also kind of orientalizes.
Well, and I didn't do that. So that's a straw man fallacy, because I said Western, but I didn't provide a dualistic framework of reference.
Straw man fallacy. Are you trying to debate?
No, I'm just saying that would not be the point that I was making, because the Orientalism, descriptor would not describe me describing like the Western project, because that would mean that I also presented the Eastern project, which I didn't. So that's all I was saying. Because for me, I'm just describing Western Europe specifically, but I'm not describing South Asia or Africa or South America as an alternative dualism.
Blake, did you have more questions for this guest?
Nope, I wasn't really trying to put that on you either. I was just saying, like, more presenting where my hesitancy and questioning was coming from. But with your academic background, yeah, like you said, I don't think we're really in contention with each other on any of these issues.
Yeah, I guess my main thing is and that was actually kind of what I came up here to ask for your perspective on, was because I was talking to some other people about the simulation theory. And it's funny because since simulation theory wears the guise of particle physics and mathematics and stuff, it's more attractive to the atheist than some sort of pantheon of deities would be, right? And it looks like science, but when you look at it, it really kind of looks just like Mayan non-linear time being described through sort of the jargon of quantum physics. And so it's and that's where that cultural relativism applies, because it's okay, so when it's a Mayan person describing nonlinear time, cyclic existence repeating itself through some sort of, cosmological explanation, when it's that, but remixed into, contemporary English speaking, academia, it's totally acceptable. But then when it's told from a different point of view that's not a part of that project, then it's not. You know what I'm saying? So I've noticed that some of that's where that relativism is important, because I noticed a lot of what happened, and we kind of saw this actually historically too with Arthurian tales with King Arthur, where
what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, I was talking
this
about
monologue is just unending.
Well, I was just talking about how people like to take versions of ideas that were pre-existent, but then pretend as if they're what's the word?
Like
Empirical.
something like a TED Talk. You're just giving us a TED Talk about an opinion you have. How does this relate to questioning your own beliefs? We were questioning you about your beliefs in ascension and reincarnation. You went off into quantum physics, started arguing with Blake about the Eastern Project or something you said. And honestly, like, I'm wondering why did you come up here just to give us a TED Talk on your opinions?
No, I tried to ask you a specific question, but then you wanted to take it into a different realm, which then I responded with quantum physics answers that were displeasing.
You were trying to ask me a question.
Yeah, because I was
asking you.
Well, the question is of your prompt is like question your reality, and so that's what I was trying to question is if I have a misperception of
question your beliefs, and we were asking you questions about your cultural Buddhism, how you what parts of that you take literally, and then you went into quantum physics, which you seemed to question. I don't know your assumption, but beyond that, like I'm wondering, like, can you actually question your beliefs, or are we just?
I'm confused. I thought
preaching?
I just performed that. Well, there wasn't preaching because there wasn't a doctrine being preached.
There wasn't? About quantum physics and...
Well, we were having a discussion about questioning our epistemology, essentially, and so then I was answering those epistemic questions.
I see. Well, I think I've got a queue of questioners who aren't scraping metal against metal on their microphone, so I'm going to go ahead and move on and see if anybody's got the curiosity or courage to question their beliefs. Appreciate you being here, answering the questions, but I think I'm ready to speak to someone who's focused on the conversation of questioning their beliefs instead of sharing their, well, I'm sure very educated, just very long-winded opinion.
I don't think that cyclical, like Mayan time, has a lot, is like similar to what people present as like the reasoning behind simulation theory, but
Sorry,
ironically, I do think it's a lot more similar to like quantum woo in the misunderstandings.
What the fuck just happened in the comments? Wow. That was fast. Fascinating. Wow. How?
But no, we just have to keep the pace of the show going. We're running a show.
What the fuck? Sad, pathetic. Oh my god. Whatever that is. Wow. Sorry, Blake, you were speaking.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that was out of left field. I was going to be like, I'm excited to talk to you about ethnobotany, but that was wild and out of left field.
We stopped his platforming. We weren't letting his TED Talk continue, and his, I guess, narcissistic tendency took over. I honestly don't know. Maybe that's me ascribing way more than was there. It was just wild reaction. Yep, CCAT's telling me I'm wrong. Shut up, Thrayle. Yep. I don't know. Just wild. pointed was about science and physics. It really had nothing to do with the live. It was just over informative and
Yeah, we got into
self-indulgent.
discussing their like quantum woo beliefs a little bit there, but they kept bringing up cultural relativism in a way that is like not the way that like I hear it in my field. So I was like getting kind of confused by that. But used to hearing cultural relativism is like how people justify terrible things. So like I think that they meant more like cultural context, but I'm not sure. Might be different in their branch of anthropology.
Was strange. We did have a guest in queue who I'm sure their eyes glazed over by the end of that. Mine nearly did. Mayan calendar, quantum physics.
I think what they're trying to say with the Mayan calendar thing is that because people are say with simulation theory that that's like a never ending levels, like the calendar, the Mayan calendar has like several levels to it, but that's literally where the similarities end. And so that's why I was like, I don't think these really have anything to do with each other. Like where you have longer cycles that are represented by bigger wheels and smaller cycles that are represented by smaller wheels. So you have like wheels inside of wheels spinning. So I think that's where they were drawing like the like um like down the levels of inception of like they were like comparing the visuals there, but yeah, it's not really related in any way besides both being like Russian nesting dolls.
Simulations of simulations inside of simulations of other simulations. And if you are simulating your belief in a god or God's higher power or anything like that, and you're curious enough or courageous enough to question that belief, go ahead and request up. I'm not here to debate or argue, just to see if you can question. Hello, Ashen. A lot of background noise.
And Kay's birthday was 2 days before mine.
Nope. Don't know what that recording was. Don't know what the all scraping sound was. I heard a voice for a moment that might have been a person trying to talk, but I think you need to fix all of that. Try it again if you mean to be here. But maybe you have a belief in some kind of God or godlike thing. Maybe you can question that belief. Or maybe you've been questioned before. If you've been waiting for your chance to turn the tables, and I've questioned you, well, you can question the questioner. Or If you've never been questioned, go ahead and request up, and we might have a few questions for you. Maybe not that one. I did that one all week. Let's do... That one's a little more... well, we'll see. Ashen's going to try again, and... Hello, Ashen. Can I get your age
Hello?
for TikTok, TOS?
Hi, 25.
And do you have a belief in a god or gods, higher power, or anything like that?
I do. I'm just wondering, like, what is your prompt specifically on, like, just questioning people on what their beliefs are?
If you believe in a god or gods, or anything like that, seeing if you can question that.
So I am Catholic, and I'm wondering why you're questioning people on who their believers are.
To see if they can question it.
Why
If
would
you
they?
can... Sorry, what?
No, go ahead.
Just to see if you can question what it is you believe.
Yeah, just a critical thinking exercise. Explore your beliefs, ask questions, see what your answers are.
I mean, if you're brought up with, the teaching of what it is to be a Catholic, then I don't really know why you would question your quote unquote God.
So if you're Catholic, you shouldn't question it. Should a Muslim question?
No, they have every right to believe in their own.
A right to believe.
Yeah.
So does having a right to believe mean you should believe a thing?
Say that again?
Does having a right to believe something mean you should believe it?
Obviously not.
So you believe in Catholicism?
No.
Do you believe... Oh, you don't?
No.
Do you believe in a God?
Yeah, God himself.
Which one?
Our Lord.
Which Lord?
The Lord and Catholics.
So, but you don't believe in the doctrine of Catholicism?
No.
But you believe in the God of Catholicism?
No.
Fascinating. Do you believe in the God of the Bible?
Yeah,
Have you read the Bible
I have.
from beginning to end?
Yes, and I'm rereading it.
And do you believe the stories within the Bible to be true and literal?
To an extent.
All of them?
To an extent.
To an extent. What does that mean?
That I believe in most, but some are questionable.
Do you believe the first story in the Bible, the 6-day creation?
I do.
Do you believe that is true and literal?
I believe it's true to an extent.
What extent?
I believe in the majority of what is being said. And there are some parts that are questionable.
Which parts do you find yourself questioning?
Well, I'm not going to go like into detail because, out of respect out of any other people that are listening,
Do
I
you
would not
understand that
want
the
to disrespect
topic of
them.
this live is to question your own beliefs?
Right, and
So can you
go ahead, whoever's speaking.
Oh no, Thrayle basically said the same thing I was going to say, so.
can you question your own beliefs?
I'm not questioning my belief because at the end of the day, you should follow through with what.
So then why did you request to be on a panel
Okay,
where
then.
the topic
Hi,
is?
girl. Like, what?
Yeah, if the
I
topic
mean,
is
if you're going to
questioning
speak
your own
about,
belief,
are you like, I'm just asking, like, what religion are you?
I don't have a religion.
What do you mean?
What
Are
do you
you
mean?
like
What
an
do I mean?
atheist? Are you an atheist?
What does that mean?
So,
What does that mean?
are you an atheist? Do you not
What
believe in a God?
is not believe? Sure, I do not believe. I do not have a belief.
You don't have a belief. So, after life, you feel that it is just done with. And
No,
there's no afterlife.
that would be a belief, wouldn't it?
Is that what you think?
Is what would I think?
Once you're done, do you think that there's nothing in the afterlife?
What do you mean by nothing? What do you mean
As
by
in,
afterlife?
do you not have a spirit once you're done?
What's a spirit?
Do you not have your your soul? Is it
What is a
not
soul?
there? Your yourself in general, like your
Self. Like me.
do you feel that you as an individual, your whole lifespan, once everything is done, once you get to about 101, if you're lucky and healthy,
Wow,
or
101. How old did you say you are?
you're not even answering
How
my
old did you say you are? For
You're
TikTok
not
terms of service.
25.
What year were you born?
After you're not, so you can just ask me questions.
Yes. I can check your age for TikTok terms of service. And if you avoid answering your age or the year you're born, then seems like you might be, especially by the nature of some of those questions, questionable.
I can't believe that you didn't yeet them right after this.
Well, it does
So,
say
like, I'm not going to question my
questionable.
beliefs. That would be rude in case someone's watching.
It's wild. Maybe she'll try again sometime. I don't know. But yeah, you gotta be over 18. I don't know why you wouldn't just say what year. Grace Moo. Forced. What's forced? Oh, that would have been better if I timed it. Yeah, Scarwolf, possibly. I don't know. I'm not gonna say what their intention was because I don't know. Certainly wasn't questioning their belief.
Next time someone says, well, our Lord, of course, I'm just going to be like, when did we return to feudalism?
Hello, Jeff. Can I get your age for TikTok TOS?
Hey, what's up? I'm 40.
And do you have a belief in a god or gods, higher power, or anything like that?
I have a belief, not necessarily in a god. Well, I'm just a humanist, but I would love for my beliefs to be questioned.
You have a belief in no god, and you said you're a humanist.
Yeah.
Why don't you believe in a god?
Because I can't prove nor disprove that there is a god.
Do you believe there are no gods?
I don't know. I genuinely have no knowledge or proof or anything of any god. They could all be real for all I know. They could all be fake for all I know.
Does it matter to you if a god exists or not?
I mean, in my current state, no. But I would be curious if somebody could show me proof. I would definitely question that God if I had
By
proof.
your current state.
Because I have no proof if there is or isn't a God. I can't say
What
that
would
there
you
isn't.
consider to be proof that? What would you consider to be proof of a god?
Physical proof. I would God coming to the earth and looking me in the eye and talking to me.
How would you verify that was God?
That is a good question. I guess that would have to be it would be like a spiritual thing that I would have to live in within myself.
What does spiritual mean?
And that would be a proof within myself.
What does spiritual mean?
That spiritual. That's what does spiritual mean? That's a good question. Spiritual, I guess, to me, I don't know. I've done lots of LSD. I've had a lot of spiritual experiences, but none that have ever proven that a sky daddy existed or a being that decided my outcome existed. Spiritual, I guess, in the sense that it came to me and no one else.
So exclusivity is spiritual.
In the personal experience, yes, I guess.
What is it? What does that even mean? Exclusivity in the personal experience is what spirituality means.
When I say that, it means that a spirit would come to me, and then I would have faith in that.
Spirit?
Man, yeah, these are tough questions you're asking. I think it's more of an experience. I don't think I can explain spiritual. It would just be an experience that I had.
Some experience that you have that you can't explain.
Yeah.
And that would be proof enough for you to believe in a God.
Yes, a personal experience. Yes, that would be enough for me.
And if you had this personal experience and met this God and were able to I guess, believe in it, would that belief be enough for you to also worship it, or would you need something more?
Oh no, I would definitely question that deity. I would not just like take it. I have definite questions.
What would your first question to a God be?
Why he allows suffering.
Is there any answer you would be satisfied with?
Oh, I don't know. If it made sense in the moment, maybe. I mean, we're talking about an experience where a unknown deity comes and looks me in the face, and I get to ask questions. How do you explain any of that? What would make sense of any of it, except to me in the moment?
Does it matter to you if a God exists or not?
Yeah, it does matter.
Why?
Because if a God exists, I think he's a narcissist and kind of a piece of crap. And those are the questions that I would want to ask.
Do you believe in an afterlife?
No,
Why not?
because I have no proof of an afterlife.
What would you consider to be proof of afterlife? We're hearing a lot of clicking and rubbing on your microphone. Is there any chance you could kind of stop being so rough with it?
Sure. Proof of an afterlife would mean that there's physical evidence of an afterlife. Like I would question what kind of life did I have before I was born?
Right, that's not what I'm asking.
Sure.
What would you consider to be proof of an afterlife?
Evidence.
What kind of evidence?
Evidence that I can, like...
Can you imagine any examples of what kind of evidence you might accept?
Yeah, I would accept, like, proof.
Fascinating. How drunk are you, Jeff?
I'm not drunk.
So the proof you would accept would be evidence, and the evidence you would accept would be proof.
I would accept evidence as a... Oh, how do you say it? I would accept excuse me. I would accept evidence as a consistent You're asking tough questions.
That's what we do.
Evidence to me is consistent outcome with provable undeniability. 2 plus 2 equals 4, and you can't prove that to not be true.
Fascinating. So if I had one set of 3 and another set of 3, and I added those together, I wouldn't get 6. 2 sets.
You would get
2. If I had
you
two
would get
sets,
6 both times.
Right. That'd be 1 plus 1 is 6. So if I did 2 sets like that, each one with 3, right, and then another 2 sets with 3, that wouldn't get 12. So now 2 sets plus 2 sets is 12, right?
I don't think I'm following what you just said. Say it again.
I don't think you've been following much, Jeff. What I was asking prior to that, before you tried to define what evidence is, with 2 plus 2 can't ever equal anything but 4, which may or may not be true. What I was asking was, what specific examples of evidence can you imagine that might compel you to believe in an afterlife?
I don't know. I guess I would have to see it and experience it.
I don't know is a fine answer, Jeff. I don't know that I have any more questions. Blake, do you have any questions for Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff, if you had a choice of chocolate, strawberry, vanilla ice cream right now, what kind of ice cream would you have?
I prefer strawberry.
Appreciate you coming up, Jeff. Seems that you can question your beliefs. And we'll go ahead and set you down. W's for Jeff. If anybody's got a belief in a god or gods, higher power, or anything like that, and you're curious enough or courageous enough to question that belief, go ahead and request up. He said, weird. What's weird about talking to a skeleton on the internet about your beliefs? Requesting up when you have none.
I'm gonna say I don't understand what people are expecting when they want to come up and talk to a skeleton and gay Shrek, basically. So, like, set your expectations there.
Oh, this can be interesting. This actually, if this is. Hello, Yomer.
Hey, so.
Welcome back. Can you remind us your age for TikTok, TOS?
Oh, yes. So I am 20 years old. I only just did some more looking up, some more of my little bit of the homework. Mainly looked at the Big Bang a little bit. And so I'm still a follower in Christ. So I believe in the gospel with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and the existence.
You just to clarify something from previous discussions. Is the God of the Bible evil or good or something else?
Good.
So now he's good.
Yeah. I know. I've been switching back and forth between
Fair
neutral.
Enough. It shows that you do question.
Yes.
So now you're back to the biblical God is good, and Jesus is your Lord and Savior.
Yes.
And to remind us, have you read your Bible from beginning to end?
No, I have not. Not yet. No. I haven't gone past. I started with John, and I don't think I've gone past chapter 6 yet.
Why John?
Because because starting with Genesis is pretty much not, you can't really lay it as a historical narrative, because it is clearly from what I've observed watching YouTube, people covering have covered Genesis or quoted Genesis. It's clearly creation stories. So it would be first wise to look at the documents that are based off an event first.
Why would you start, even if it is mythological, if the references being made thereafter are to those mythologies, why would you not need to know them to understand the later text?
I mean, it's not that I don't need to know Genesis, because Genesis, not Genesis, that lays down moral law. Actually, it partially can lay some moral ground. But it would be most important to try to test whether it's true or not. So, unfortunately, I haven't been doing the testing, actually evaluating it for myself, as independently as I should have. So I am relying off of research and off of
But how can you understand the claims that are being made later in the book if you don't, like, how do you get to the New Testament without the Old Testament?
How do you get to the New Testament without the Old Testament? Well, because the Old Testament is specifically Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are the historical documents. So to start with the Old Testament first would be going off of the prescribe that this is reliable, that Genesis through prior to John is reliable. But how do you really know that without looking at historical data? Because they are not written in historical narrative. Genesis through Leviticus.
Even if I understand what you're saying. I understand that you're saying that you believe that the Gospels are historical and Genesis is not.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking at historical documents in which they're only referencing Lord of the Rings, but you've never read Lord of the Rings, can you really understand those documents?
So wait, if I don't read the mythology of Lord of the Rings first, but skip over to the historical documents of the Lord of the Rings, that's a problem? That would be okay, maybe I missed
I don't think that's the point.
That was not the point. Okay. Because... Okay, I'm sorry. Can you restate that, maybe?
Like, if you are... Even if you're reading... Like, let's take it completely outside the Bible. You're reading, like, a historical narrative, or, like, you're reading historical documents that's, like, a transcription of a discussion about Lord of the Rings, but you have no idea what Lord of the Rings is. Like, wouldn't it be smart to read Lord of the Rings to make sure that you understand what they're talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, shoot. That's right. I forgot to mention this. The Bible is more than just a book. It's a library. Right? So technically, you'd be right to say if the Bible is a book, I should start from the beginning to end. Right. But in libraries, technically, you don't have to do it that way. Because a library is a compilation, can be a compilation of books, or really any sort of manuscripts. Like we have libraries in our programs that we run. I import libraries into my C++ files to use my data structures.
So when you're saying the Bible is
So-
a library, sorry, go ahead, Blake.
I was gonna say, so if I declare any book or collection of books that was created in a chronological order or is supposedly created in this chronological order that's presented, as long as I call it a library, it doesn't make sense to read it in chronological order.
No. See, here's what makes a library a library. It has to be a compilation of books, of manuscripts, really.
Yomer, what you haven't done is explain why it would not be a good idea to read this book from beginning to end. That's what I'm getting at. And calling it a library doesn't remove any of the other points that you have already agreed to. Like, if you're reading about something that is discussing something else, you should read that thing first.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I'm not going to read about something and take it serious if I can't tell if it's whether it's nonfiction or not. Genesis is not falsifiable unless if you could justify some reason to trusting Genesis.
So what creates your trust in the Gospels? If many of the characters in the Gospels are putting their trust in the Old Testament, as they were Jewish, many of them.
So, I honestly don't know why they put their trust in the Old Testament. But the reason why I would put my trust in them is now a few reasons. Alright. It's because...
Are you putting your trust in them if you're not, like, reading the context that they're using?
If I'm not reading the context that they're using, like, not reading Genesis?
Not just Genesis. Like,
of course, Old Testament.
Yeah, like, how can you... It doesn't make sense to start in the middle of the story, declare it's historically accurate, when those people are referencing the Old Testament. Do you see how that doesn't make sense?
No, I do not see.
Besides to...
It doesn't make sense. I gotta be honest.
Center Jesus?
I would see after the fact, if I read the Gospels, if I really, it would be questionable if I really took them seriously after the fact and not actually read Genesis right after that. But it's because of the historical reliability of the Gospels that leans me towards them first. I wouldn't go towards...
Aren't they historically reliable? Do they even agree with each other?
They agree with each other. They have different perspectives, but not inherently contradictory. Not inherently contradictory takes.
Well, then, how did Judas die?
Oh, how did Judas die? Well, I see where you're getting at here, but I'll let it play out. So he hung himself, right?
Well, did he?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, we do
in
see
one story he did, but how did he die in the different story?
When the different story, it mentions the bursting of blood. The bursting of of
But what
him.
did he do before that?
Jump off?
No, what did he do before that? There was a difference in the story beyond just the method of dying. There's an event that happens before that that doesn't happen in the other one, and the way that one story is told makes it impossible for that event in the other story to happen.
Okay, I did not know where you were going there. Huh. So, okay.
Like, do you remember what Judas did with the money in one of the stories?
In one of the stories, he spent it on, said one that he spent and one he tossed it, right?
Yeah, in one story,
Get brutally. Obviously.
by brutally, do you mean as a historical account?
No, I would say like it would be something like if I said the woman driving down the street breaks to stop, and then someone else said that the lady came to a quick halt. It was and he doesn't mention the sound. He just blatantly doesn't mention the sound at all. Mention the sounds from the brakes, he does not. Now, when we have tossing of money, you can say
Is that similar to the differences, or is one?
So, when we say toss the money, are we sure that he really tossed the money like away, in a way where it's like he's trashing it, or that he's doing something with it, as in like spending it?
Accounts usually require this much deciphering?
So, yeah, there's going to be different descriptions, like slight variance in description, right? And in this story in particular, I'm not sure what we're referencing, what we're exactly referencing.
Well, I think you do, because you're away.
It's trash, yeah. Or did he toss the money, and they kind of just describe it as toss the money instead of actually making a purchase, like toss it on the table, or.
But did he toss the money, go unalive himself in one story, and then in another story, not toss the money, go buy a field, and then explode in a field? Are those two different witness accounts, or are those two completely different things?
Yeah, I mean, I would even go as far back to say, even if those two things happened, right? He bought something with money and he threw his money, and let's say he actually trashed his money. those could be describing two different events that have happened. So one moment he did buy something, and then he did throw money and lead to his death
Is
eventually.
hanging and exploding the same thing?
No, but people have had a hard time hanging themselves and end up messing it up. And I mean, so if you'd hang yourself from high enough, right, and you screw it up, of course, when you fall, right? Like if I did it from my 2-story house.
Do reliable historical accounts require you to make a bunch of assumptions to make them one cohesive narrative?
No, I'm not really making much assumptions. More of observations of It's not supposed to be a completely perfect A event happened, then B event happened on every side. Just like how we have new.
Well, then why are you saying that it's a historical account? We've kind of beat that horse, but so we can move on to something else. But what are some other reasons that you draw this as your line for the Old Testament not reliable as a historical event, but all of a sudden the New Testament is reliable? At least the Gospels. I think you just said the Gospels.
Yeah. Just like I said, I mean the the Gospels show different events and some similar events with the same perspective. Like when they mention seeing angels at a tomb, one mentions that there is one angel, and the other mentions that there are two. And this, I'm bringing this because this is the easiest one for me to explain. Because it wouldn't be really a contradiction if you said I saw an angel, and then we saw two angels. It doesn't necessarily mean they're describing the same event at the same time. Even if they did, and that there really were two angels,